Maine people are angry. Their taxes are high. Their incomes are lagging behind the rest of New England. There are more Maine families at risk of poverty than ever before. What specific steps will you take to change this equation? And why should Maine people believe your administration will make it happen?
I think it's very critical that we appreciate that the people are angry, and the reason is because more money is taken out of their wallet than is necessary. We need to alter the income tax structure in the state from the taking of the top marginal rate of 8.5% and lowering it down to 5% incrementally. It's also critical that our small business community, which represents over 90% of businesses in Maine, has an opportunity to flourish. We need to deregulate them and to control the cost of what burdens them, workmen's compensation, health insurance, unemployment insurance, and work closely with government so that government becomes an ally of the small business community and not an adversary. And this has to be a meaningful partnership, a partnership that the small business community has not enjoyed, in my opinion, for quite a while.
What I intend to do as governor of the state of Maine is totally eliminate the income tax here in the state of Maine. The only people that pay the income tax is the people that work above the table and are Maine residents. Those people that are working under the table and who are come up here from out of state do not pay into the income tax system. By eliminating the income tax system, we can immediately lower the taxes for Maine citizens, and instead of collecting income taxes from a few 100,000 people, we'll be collecting sales and use taxes from millions of people, including the people from out of state that come up here, which we are now subsidizing through our income tax system.
Because it is frustrating to a lot of people in terms of what's not been happening that they'd like to see happening more of. And I understand the struggles that Maine people are going through. But I also think it's important for all the facts to get out there. The recent poverty report that came out indicated initially in headlines there was a 50% increase in poverty, when in actuality it was 1.3% increase. That was clarified later on in editorials, but unfortunately the misperception continues on. We need to make sure that we're clear with Maine people. We understand what those challenges are, but we also understand what those opportunities are. When I became governor, we had a $1.2 billion shortfall in the highest tax burden in the country. I promised the people of Maine that I'd balance it without raising taxes, and that's what we've done. We've come down from being the worst tax state in the country down to number 3, baby steps, headed in the right direction, but a lot more work needs to be done, and I need the opportunity to finish that work.
The number of people in poverty is 100% if you're one of the people in poverty. And we have an enormous problem. In Washington County, more than half of the children are on Medicaid. That's an indication of poverty. That's health insurance for the poor. The biggest drag on our economy, the number one reason why businesses don't come to Maine, the number one reason why they don't expand is the cost of health care. It's costing us enormously in taxes. It's inhibiting our businesses. It's stopping Maine from growing. What we really need is we need to have a universal health care plan that will completely and totally make it possible for people, individuals, businesses, taxpayers, to be able to afford to live. It's a problem that affects the entire country, but it's a solution that we can take Maine to now. There's a universal health care plan. If you go to my website, PAT 2006, you can check it out. We can lower taxes and we can help Maine businesses. Thank you.
I agree with the question. Mainers are very angry because, frankly, both political parties have let them down by failing to reach compromise over a constitutional amendment to prevent unreasonable property tax increases of their valuations, and by failing to reach compromise to significantly control state spending. I have sat down and talked to hundreds of Maine people, Maine businessmen and women, and I have developed a business plan. You can find it on my website. It is barbaramerrill.com, and it includes a blueprint for economic recovery for Maine. It includes greater connections to Canada. It includes tax incentives for Maine businesses that reinvest in Maine, for all Maine businesses, not just the ones lucky enough to be in the pine tree zones. And it includes plans for us to have the best schools in Maine. And I'm anxious to share it with you, and I'm anxious to talk in greater detail about it as we go through the rest of this evening.